The field at sundown. Josh lived in a small, isolated farmhouse, a weather-beaten monument to his late father's memory. The countryside was quiet, almost too quiet, and his only company was the soil he tilled. He was a farmer who worked from dawn till he could no longer see the rows, often pushing past the dusk. It was a habit his father had always warned him against. "Son," his father had once said, his voice low and serious, "you come in when the clock strikes 7. No good ever comes from being out in the field after that." One crisp autumn night, Josh ignored the old warning. The harvest was running late, and the moon was bright enough to see by. He was hooking the plow to the tractor, his watch reading 7:14 p.m., when a faint, reedy sound drifted on the wind. It was his name. "Josh!" He stopped, heart thumping. It sounded distant, almost swallowed by the vast open land, yet undeniably close. He called out, "Hello? Is someone there?" Only the wind answered. Then it came again, louder this time, tinged with a strange, sorrowful urgency. "Josh! Over here!" The voice seemed to be coming from the edge of his furthest field, right up against the dark line of the woods. The place his father had always told him was cursed. Hesitantly, he started walking, leaving the tractor idling, its lone headlight cutting a weak beam into the growing gloom. The echo in the woods. As he walked closer, the calling grew clearer. It wasn't a stranger's voice. It was familiar, mournful, and laced with a desperate sadness that made the hairs on his arms stand up. "Who is it?" Josh shouted, picking up his pace, a cold dread pulling in his gut. When he reached the very last row of corn, he stopped dead. The calling had stopped. The air was dead silent. The shadows of the woods looked like skeletal hands reaching out. He was about to turn back when he saw it, a small antique pocket watch lying on the freshly turned earth. It was his father's watch, the one he'd worn every day and was buried with. Josh bent down, his hand trembling as he picked it up. The glass was cracked and the hands were frozen. He flipped it open. The time was stuck exactly at 7 o'clock. "Don't look up, Josh. Run!" A whisper, impossibly close, scraped in his ear, sounding exactly like his father's final gasping breath. The thrilling ending. Josh didn't question it. He didn't look up. He bolted, running back towards the farmhouse in the light of the tractor, clenching the frozen watch in his hand. He ran for his life, the silence of the countryside now a suffocating terror. He was halfway across the field when he heard a noise behind him, a slow, wet dragging sound, and then a heavy thud, followed by the sickening crunch of something being ground into the soil. He risked a single frantic glance over his shoulder. In the faint moonlight, he saw a dark, misshapen figure standing where he had just been. It was tall and gaunt, hunched over, and it was holding his father's old plowshare, which had been hanging on the side of the tractor. It raised the heavy metal, its empty eyes seeming to bore into Josh's soul, and then slammed it down again, not onto the ground, but onto the idling tractor's seat. The sharp, metallic impact was followed by a horrific, gurgling sigh. The figure then looked directly at Josh, and in the sudden realization, Josh understood. The voice wasn't calling him to the field. It was calling him away. His father's spirit was still tied to the land, trying to save him from the thing that patrolled the fields after 7. Josh reached the house, slammed the heavy oak door shut, and collapsed against it, gasping for air. He gripped the watch, his father's final warning held forever in his hand. From that night on, the plowshare remained stuck, half buried in the crushed metal of his tractor seat. A permanent, terrifying reminder that 7 o'clock was not the end of the workday, but the beginning of the watch. And Josh never worked a minute past 6:59 again.